From being called the golden girl of Valorant to being in one of the biggest dramas of the Valorant community, here's what exactly happened to Kyedae and why she's suddenly being hated by everyone. Valorant is constantly in some controversy, and when things seem to calm down, then something ends up causing another big problem within the community. And in this case, it would all start when Light Edits, a few months ago, was playing with Juno, Shazam's girlfriend. He would say, "You have ult," and Juno would reply, "She knows."
The bomb down you can res.
She knows.
Okay.
I play the character now.
Yo, we are unironically not even 5 rounds in. Who the fuck is so angry?
Wait, how are we angry?
Mad at comms or what?
No.
Who the fuck says he knows when like you're doing a good comm?
That's a good comp.
Because she knows. I never said it was.
Why do you have attitude? What the fuck?
How is that
I
attitude?
know when I have my ult. I don't need to like,
I'm not-
Like,
I was going for the
When people call the bullets in your gun, I'm not gonna be like, I know, like, it's just
No,
a
it's
good call, there's
comp.
extra info.
You're the one who's on my ass saying I have attitude and shit. Like, what? Dude, the joys of being a woman. You guys are hella fucking weird, by the way.
Weird.
Fucking loser
know how I'm
fucks,
on the
loser
top of the
freak
board.
fucks. So our team
died
is
so fucking
terrible
much for
also.
NANI?!
I hope these two-
like,
This would cause a fight several months ago now and prompted the following tweet. Shazam calling Juna an innocent girl after she accused me of sexism and got Kyedae to message my university over an online argument is absolutely insane. The audacity is off the charts. As you can see, Kyedae, probably at Juna's request, or simply because she felt like it, accused him and contacted the Light Edits University. But this is where Kyedae comes in, who had nothing to do with it, and in the beginning, according to what is mentioned, only that Kyedae had contacted the university where Light Edits was studying because of his behavior, with the intention of harming him. Pathological liar, messages with my school staff. The proof was a screenshot that, according to Light Edits, in a conversation and also a couple of other videos, and is that instead of addressing the problem directly with everyone, let it pass as an irrelevant discussion in Valorant. They took the most chaotic course, as clearly, you have to go to extremes to meddle in someone else's life over something as simple as a comment, since as Light Edit himself said, his professional future could be at stake and affected. Obviously, the conflict between Kyedae and Light Edits began with the accusation of trying to harm, and according to their statements, their university received a message from Kyedae, although they never officially opened it, as we can see in the above screenshot. And who we can see is talking to an administrative staff, as he makes it clear that they were trying to harm him in some way. And what was Juna's response? Clarifying again, I have never requested anyone to message your school. I have never personally messaged your school, and I never encouraged anyone to dox you, despite you doing it to me on live stream. Did you forget you did that? It's all out there publicly, so, well, as you can see, he had no intention of responding, while the responses of Kyedae and her close circle only fueled the controversy, because instead of taking responsibility for what she did, both Juna and Shazam tried to minimize the problem or divert attention with other accusations, even trying to get content creators who were talking about the issue. And is that we see a very clear case of abuse of power by them, simply because they don't like someone, or as one person says in VLR, Light Edits is a cuck who tries to clip farm constantly and is weird. The intention to affect his future in a completely unconscionable way has no valid justification in any way, but the worst was when Kyedae decided to respond to the controversy. I've been keeping to myself as I wanted to discuss some issues privately, thanks to Kyedae for reaching out. Together, we discussed our concerns and came to a mutual resolution. While I understand the severity of her actions, I truly believe she was being genuine and having no ill intent, and that doesn't justify excessive harassment on my behalf. I appreciate Kyedae for taking the time to talk to me and understanding my perspective and experiences online, as well as explaining her own. It's not always easy to have these conversations, but I really appreciate the respect and maturity that was shown throughout. I'm glad that we were able to resolve things privately and come to a mutual understanding. I want to be very clear, I do not condone nor tolerate any hate or harassment toward any streamer, regardless of the situation. I can handle my own battles. We all have a responsibility to foster a positive and respectful environment where everyone can thrive. My intent was to get everything off my chest and clear my name, not to incite hate or negativity. That's not something I support or align with. Thank you for your support. In a long message where she explains that he never sent anything to the university but went to the U Waterloo GG email, which is an esports team, to simply try to control inappropriate attitudes in a complete and total blindness of what was happening. And her intention was to address a behavior she considered inappropriate, denying having tried to ruin someone's life or to be expelled. To clarify, I never DM'd the university, only his esports Twitter account, GU Waterloo GG. My message was about addressing behavior I believed was inappropriate. The claim that I've tried to ruin anyone's life or get someone kicked out over online drama is completely false. I've never intended any harm, and my actions have clearly been misunderstood. I'd appreciate if people could stop hopping on a hate train and spreading misinformation, especially when accusations are being made without any proof. I'm not a childish and petty person. Education is very important to me, and if you knew me personally, you'd know that. Again, in no way would I take the time to be weird and try and get someone kicked out. Yes, Juna is my friend. Yes, the situation was blown out of proportion, but I do not think something that happened in April needs to be brought back up again. I've been getting non-stop harassed since Christmas Eve, and I'd appreciate if you guys could stop. Thank you. This will be the only time I address it online, and maybe once on Twitch when I'm back in LA. But the truth is, she first tried to ruin his life and then said that people should stop spreading false information and getting on the hate train. I mean, she was denying having done anything until people started throwing all the hate they could at her. To come in and say that now, with her face washed, to apologize for something that not long ago she denied with all her might, when a person says something different from her first version because of hate, it shows very clearly that something's very wrong. In addition, Kyedae mentioned that she had been receiving harassment since Christmas Eve, which some interpreted as an attempt at victimization. And while this is certainly an acceptable point, because no matter how much damage you do, going to harass a person daily is a bad thing, and the people who engaged in that, well, all good at home, doesn't take away from the fact that their actions are wrong. She also said she would only talk about it one more time on Twitch when she returned to Los Angeles, leaving up in the air the exact justification of why she had contacted the university. With all this, and in response to the wave of criticism, Kyedae deleted comments on her social networks. But finally, something curious happened, and that is that after weeks of controversy, Kyedae finally contacted Light Edits to discuss what happened, and they reached a mutual resolution. But Light Edits published a message in which he assured that although Kyedae's actions were serious, he believed in her sincerity and that she had no bad intentions. But as usual, it caused some problems and divided opinions, as she changed her mind several times until she finally accepted that she told the university. WestJet, a content creator, decided to analyze the video and made it clear that Kyedae managed to be forgiven, but she never apologized in a public way. The conversation between the two focused more on the hate she received in networks than on the damage she caused by Light Edits by reporting it to her university, which is absurd. But Light Edits did clarify that Kyedae apologized and that she did not initially understand the impact that her actions could have had. But WestJet and others believe that this is not enough to clean up her image. Of course, and if we take into account Kyedae's attitudes that she put all her social networks in private to avoid hate, which many see as a strategy to dodge responsibility, something we've been mentioning already, because the lack of a public apology ends up more as a thorn that did not make the community completely calm. And some believe that she only apologized because she was receiving a lot of criticism and not because she really felt remorse. Some users were banned from her chat for asking her about it, which makes it clear that this questionable attitude leaves her transparency in doubt. But as always, we must not forget that Kyedae focused more on the idea that she's being attacked than in assuming her responsibility, and therefore WestJet made it clear that it is an attempt to victimize herself to divert the conversation from the real problem. Thanks to this, the community is still divided as to whether Kyedae deserves to be forgiven or not. Although, if we take into account the track record, well, if you question those apologies, since they were very empty and that she's just trying to clean up her image without assuming real consequences, and while Light Edits decided to forgive her, that does not mean that the situation should be forgotten or minimized. Did Kyedae act right? The final answer is in your hands. Don't forget to subscribe and like us.